Good morning, all. This is Jarrett at Agape Christian Marketplace, and I'm here with this morning's Soulful selection. Welcome to a new week. And in keeping with the theme of a new week and still a new year, I'm going to share with you the new devotional that I've started using myself. All right, so this is entitled Truth for Life, 365 Daily Devotions, Volume 1, written by Alistair Begg. Alistair Begg, you may be familiar with him from his radio program, Truth for Life. And I've never actually read a book of his before. I've certainly listened to some of the clips of him and preaching of him. But, you know, and I like what he says, and it's always fun listening to someone with his accent. I'm just going to be honest there. All right, so here we go. January 15th. This devotional is entitled The Triumphant King. And it starts off by quoting from Revelation chapter 1, verses 4 to 5, which reads, "Grace to you, and peace from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the seven spirits who are before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, the faithful witness, the firstborn of the dead and the ruler of kings on earth." And then Alistair Begg writes the following: "What do you do when your Christian convictions and the circumstances of your life appear to declare two different truths?" This was the conundrum facing the first readers of the book of Revelation. The last book in our scriptures was not written to confuse, but to bless. We ought not to regard it as if it were a collection of riddles or some theological Rubik's Cube. Rather, we must understand that John was writing to readers in a historical context. First century believers who were being buffeted and persecuted by the authorities of their day, written in order to offer hope and assurance. The gospel was being preached. The people of God were absolutely convinced that even as Jesus had gone, he would return. They believed that as the ascended Lord and King, Jesus was fully in control of all circumstances, and his will was being established throughout the whole earth. That was their conviction. But when they looked at their circumstances, these did not seem to square with those convictions. None of the things that they affirmed to one another and shared with their friends and neighbors appeared to be happening. Mockers abounded. In fact, the Apostle Peter had already warned the believers, scoffers will come in the last days. And they would ask, where is the promise of this coming? For ever since the fathers fell asleep, all things are continuing as they were from the beginning of creation. And that's taken from 2 Peter 3, verses 3 and 4. While the church was small and beleaguered, the empires of man were growing in strength and significance. Persecution was increasing in its intensity, and the evil one doubtless came and insinuated to these suffering Christians that they had bought into a great delusion. They needed Jesus to come and give them his perspective, so that their troubles would not discourage, perplex, or overwhelm them. They needed to understand simply this, that Jesus was still the triumphant Lord and King. His resurrection from the dead had declared his authority and his integrity. He would be trusted with his people's lives and futures. In a world that continues to oppress God's people, the book of Revelation is exactly what the church today needs. While economic gloom, material deprivation, and issues of morality and personal identity threaten to unravel the minds of men and women, John's message reminds us that our Christian faith is sufficient for the challenges and questions that confront us. Do your circumstances suggest to you that perhaps your convictions about faith might be mistaken? rest in this assurance. Jesus rose, Jesus reigns, and ultimately, Jesus wins. And that is taken from the Truth for Life Daily Devotional by Alistair Begg, and reflecting on Revelation chapter 1, verses 4 to 5. I hope you have a blessed day, and we look forward to seeing you again. Soulful Selections will return on Wednesday at 9:30 live on Facebook and Instagram.